Good afternoon. It's officially afternoon right now. And thank you all for coming. It's a beautiful day outside, and I know that you all are itching to get out there in your garden, so we really appreciate that you gave up some time to come out and enjoy the meeting with us. So without further ado, I would like to welcome you to the last meeting of 2024. And I would also like to thank CC Young for allowing us to use their beautiful facility here with all the festive decorations. They've been very generous with us, and we greatly appreciate it. I see some other folks still coming in. And I would like to, without further ado, introduce our speaker for this afternoon. So Colleen Murray is this lovely lady right up here. She is a veterinarian. Come on up, Colleen. Colleen is a veterinarian in the Dallas area, and she has gone through the Master Gardener program and the Master Naturalist program in the same year. So she is the class of 2020. Quite a bit of ambition there. And lots of passion. And Colleen is also a member of the Native Plant Society of Texas. And you're going to talk to us today about trees, so we're super excited to hear what you have to say. So without further ado, please welcome Colleen.
So thank you for having me. There is no greater gift than the gift of time. We're all out of time. It's our greatest resource, so I appreciate it. I am a commissioner with the city of Dallas now, in Janie Schultz District, District 11. I'm on the Environmental Commission. I know it's kind of hard to believe that Dallas would have an environmental commission, but we do. And this is the Comprehensive Environmental and Climate Action Plan in Dallas, Texas. It's called CCAP. We should be proud of this. The Harvard Business Review has voted this the best climate plan in the country. And it's a testament to the work of the citizens of Dallas and the city staff. But the challenge here is that we live in Texas and we live in Dallas, and a climate plan only works if you get it off paper, okay? So there's a lot of work doing that. So I am going to talk about trees today, but maybe not in the way that you all think I might talk about them. It's in the context of our environmental plan. And I want people to be familiar with our environmental plan because it's important, and it's the only path out of what's happening that we're all aware of environmentally. And I am going to get on my soapbox just a little bit before we start to kind of give you an idea of kind of what's motivated me. So I'm a baby boomer, and I used to think that the world was going to be saved by young people. Well, okay. First of all, you cannot save what you do not know. And I think the silent generation right before us and the baby boomers had the last great childhood. We had clean air, we had clean water, we had open space. And that is not the case any longer. Things have changed. Also, within a few short years in this country, there will be more people over 65 than under 18. So what's happening is the youth phase of America is ending, and we're moving into another phase. And so the knowledge, the power, the money, and the votes are with older people. So if you want the world to change, then you've got to be the ones to do it. No one else is going to do it, okay? And that takes forward thinking, because a lot of the decisions that we make aren't for today. They're for 20 years, 40 years, 100 years from now. There are 11 births for every 1,000 people in this country now. That's pretty low. Japan has even predicted when their last child will be born unless something changes with their demographic, and that's happening around the world. So I just put that out there because it spurred me on once I decided to retire. I had other things I wanted to do, and I'm like, if you want to make a difference, then you better get out there and do it now while you've got your faculties and you can move. So, and I'm 8 weeks out on my new hip, and it's working great, so I'm moving. All right. So the magnificence of trees. We all need to remember that the only reason there is life on this planet is because of photosynthesis. That is it. Carbon dioxide, water, chlorophyll, and sunlight gives you pure, clean oxygen, which we no longer have, and an energy source, all right? That is why this planet looks like it does. If we didn't have photosynthesis, it would look like this, and that's Mars. So we've got to keep that in mind. It's the green things that have enabled our life. And I put this slide in here because I also think it's important. Those are natural resources: coal, natural gas, and oil. The only reason we have that changed the world is because of photosynthesis, right? Now, there is other organic material in there, but by and large, that is plant material that has made the life that we have today what it is. Think about it. It changed the world. I think everybody needs to know the name of that oil derrick. It's in Texas. Do you all know that name of that oil derrick? That is Spindletop. And it changed the world in many good ways, right? So I think we recognize that. A lot of people think that as an environmentalist on an environmental commission that I would be anti-oil and gas. I am not anti-oil and gas, but I am for being a better steward of it, right? There's a place, again, it's come out of the ground. The planet provided it. But now we know that we just need to do better because the consequences are real. We're living through it. So what are the most common trees in Dallas? I went on a walk. I live near Preston Royal. We're just going to race through these, just many, many kinds of trees. I put the hackberry in here because there is nothing that makes me angrier when somebody tells me that that is a trash tree. And I'm like, I'm sorry, can you make oxygen? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, you can't make oxygen. You don't feed yourself. You are not a universe of life. That tree feeds everything. Now, maybe you don't want growing right next to your house, but that tree is important. It is very important to ecosystems. I continue to walk on. There's a gazillion trees out there, native, non-native. I have mixed feelings about native, non-native. I'm not going to go into that. That is a citizen of Dallas. And it is the best tree planter that has ever lived, okay? So I want to reframe that. I know they do a lot of bad stuff, but let's congratulate somebody who spends every day, all day, making the planet better. That is a citizen. They plant a lot too. That lives in that hackberry. And moths and caterpillars are the bread and butter of the food web, all the way from the bottom. They are supporting our lives, and they're living up in that canopy. That's a citizen. That's a natural insecticide, living up in that canopy. This is a citizen, a massive buffet of energy and food to the web of life. That's a citizen. What is her future going to be? You know, the planet's not going to implode tomorrow, but is it going to be the kind of past or what we experienced as children? What does one mature tree do? Well, they save money on AC and heat depending on where you planted them. They mitigate noise. I think noise is the pollution that nobody talks about. There is nothing worse than noise. And I'm a veterinarian, and I can tell you, I might really love animals, but I do not want to listen to a dog bark, okay? It'll make you crazy. It'll make you crazy. And it'll make every other animal crazy, all your employees crazy, makes everybody crazy. So think about that. I live at Preston Royal Shopping Center, literally at Preston Royal Shopping Center. I live where that tornado came through, and once the tornado came through, I could walk out my back door and I could walk into the back of Royal China. Well, all along that alley, everybody lost all their trees except me. I don't know what happened there, but I didn't lose my trees. But everybody lost their trees, and let me tell you something, that shopping center noise, massive, and a lot of people wound up having to have huge hedges and stuff put in to try to mitigate what was coming from the shopping center. Trees clean the air. They clean particulate matter out of the air. The Texas Tree Foundation did a study a few years ago, and believe it or not, Vitex was the #1 for pulling particulate out of the air. And they clean the water. They generate oxygen. They absorb carbon. A tree is about 40% carbon. We're about 40%. They retain 1,000 plus gallons of storm water. Does everybody realize that when it rains and the water goes down the gutter on the street, where does that water go?
To the nearest creek, lake, or river.
And into the Trinity and into the Gulf of Mexico. It is not helping the aquifers at all. It is on a one-way ticket out of Dallas, Texas. Where there is a tree, there is a universe of life, literally. There is a woman named Meg Lohman who writes about the canopy. She calls it the eighth continent, and she is right. Nobody has really studied it because you can't get up there. But everything lives in that canopy. Ants, spiders, butterflies, moths, birds, small mammals, lizards. They live in that canopy. One mature live oak out here, I always like to give this statistic. So let's get a mature, healthy live oak in Dallas, Texas, and how much oxygen is that providing a year? Enough for 10 people. Think about that. One mature, healthy live oak. That's a lot. So I am on the Environmental Committee. I've been on it since its inception. I'm in my second term. Again, we've talked about what a great plan we have. So let's talk about the plan briefly. All right, there's 8 categories that this plan addresses. It addresses air, energy, green space, buildings, food, transportation, flooding, and waste, right? So the city of Dallas, all communities breathe clean air. F, we get an F, all right? We are getting ready to go from serious to severe non-attainment by the EPA. Our air quality is bad, it's bad year-round, and the bar's not high. They're not looking to like have great air. They're just looking for air that when you take a deep breath, you don't wind up in the ER, all right? It's kind of funny, but it's not really funny. Dallas's buildings are energy efficient and climate resilient. The city of Dallas is trying. They are going into their buildings, what they own, and they are trying to make sure that we're not wasting energy. You know, a lot of people think that the number one source of emissions are cars. Do you really know what the number one source of emission is in the world? It's heating and cooling buildings. That's where it is, depending on what your energy source is. Now you add it with cars and you've got most of it. Dallas protects and enhances its ecosystems. No, we don't, okay? We're trying, groups are trying. Dallas generates and uses renewable, reliable, and affordable energy. The city of Dallas uses all renewable energy. The problem is the rest of us aren't doing that. So Dallas leads the nation in solar and in wind energy. As a matter of fact, Dallas or Texas produces more wind energy than the next 4 states combined. So, you know, we're still burning coal. It's not even coal, it's lignite, which is like the poorest quality coal in Texas. We do have one nuclear plant, Comanche Peak, which I'm completely fine with, but I know people have mixed feelings about that. But I would ask everybody, please, when you are signing up for your electric plan, think about using a renewable source. Why would you waste a finite source of oil and gas for that? When you had wind and you had solar that you could use. Now, should you have a backup plan? Sure. Everybody has natural gas generators anymore. I think you're smart to have one. But as your primary source, why wouldn't you start with something that, you know, it has a carbon footprint, make no mistake, but it's not the same as burning natural gas or coal, right, or oil. All Dallas communities have access to healthy local food. No, they don't. 35% of Dallas is a food desert. If you go south of 635, it is hard to find a grocery store. And a lot of people don't understand that, and it has to do with where resources have been sent for years. You know, a grocery store has to be able to turn the lights on and flush the toilets. And when you've not put the infrastructure in for that, how do you go in and do it?
You said south of 635.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, south of 35. Yikes, that's where we all live. Yeah, I-30, I'm sorry, I-30. South of 30. South Dallas, I should have just said South Dallas. But yeah, South Dallas, yes.
Dallas generates, you said all of the city of Dallas uses renewable energy?
Yeah, for their buildings. In other words, not the private citizens, but the city of Dallas themselves, for Dallas Independent School Districts, the municipal buildings, they're all using renewable energy.
Because electric cars use electricity, which costs a bunch of
Right.
bad things to produce.
Right, well, 10% of the fleet is electric at this point, maybe 10%. That's a whole nother topic, but anyway, and it's none of their big commercial building or commercial vehicles. Now, one thing that is happening is there is an urban agriculture plan underway, and they're really working hard about minimizing the food desert in Dallas. But gardening is hard work. I mean, we've all gardened, I'll tell you what. I mean, kudos to anybody that's going to get a garden up and running, but there is a lot of work toward that. Dallas's communities have access to sustainable, affordable transportation. Dallas is working hard on that. DART is working hard. Buses, could it improve? Yes. But we need to support things like DART. You know, what is it that they estimate in 2050 the population will be twice what it is now? Can you imagine all of that on the road? I mean, I can't even comprehend it. We have to have public transportation. Otherwise, I'm not sure how that'll even work. I mean, Dallas right now is going through parking amendments where parking is going down. So the idea of even being able to drive and go somewhere, that's even going to be tricky. And it has to do with land usage and a lot of other things. Dallas protects its water resources and its communities from flooding and drought. We are 35% concrete and climbing. We are 2 solid San Franciscos of concrete. So when you concrete over everything, where does the water go when it rains? On top of that, Dallas is an old city, so the infrastructure was put in 1950. Do you think that that big old pipe that was put in 1950 can handle the water that comes now? It's not like a gentle rain, it's like we get these deluges. And Dallas, you know, entombed a lot of its creek systems, Spring Valley, Cedar Creek, all these things. They're underground to manage. People didn't want to deal with flooding, I understand that. But keep in mind that all of that was done years ago. So that infrastructure is old, and it was never meant to accommodate what it's supposed to accommodate now. Dallas is a zero-waste community. Dallas recycles about 70% of what gets presented for recycling. I don't know how many of you have been to the McComas landfill, but honestly, it is impressive. I would tell you to go. It is a restored blackland prairie. In the spring, it's spectacular. It doesn't smell. It's organized. The people that work down there are happy. I mean, seriously. I was completely impressed. But I am going to ask people a favor. So a lot of the recycling is sorted by AI for the safety of the people dealing with it, right? Please look at the top of your trash can, and if what you are putting in that trash can is not on the top of it, don't put it in there. Because what happens is you risk damaging the equipment when you put your hose and your hangers and all this wish recycling that we have, that we wish we recycled it. Well, we do wish we recycled it, but we don't recycle it. So when you put that in there, a lot of times everything has to be thrown away. So look at the top of the can and put it in there if it says it can be taken. And Dallas is working on a composting component at some point. They're trying. So Dallas protects and enhances its ecosystem. So there's about 400 parks now, about 30,000 acres. And then we've got the 6,000 acre Trinity Forest, which honestly is probably closer to 10,000 acres. This is the part that I focus on, and it's my passion. I've been planting trees for years. I was known as Arbor Hood in my neighborhood, the girl with the pickup and the trees. And that's why I wound up on this commission. The city of Dallas contacted me. So there's 15 members, voting members on the commission. We're all appointed by our district. There's 1 appointed by the mayor, which is 15. Then there's 8 technical experts, and they are experts in their field of all those 8 categories I've gone over. So let's talk about the canopy. So what does the canopy look like in Dallas, Texas? Well, I think it looks like a chicken when you look at it. And the darker the green, the better it is. So West Dallas and downtown aren't looking so good, right? 16% canopy. Where's the heat in Dallas? Well, the heat is north of 30 and in West Dallas. I mean, it's south of 30 and in West Dallas.
Is that because it's industrialized?
Well, it's because of the way it's zoned. It's because of the health of the canopy. It's because of the percentage of canopy. You know, South Dallas, there's a lot of industrial plants. There's batch plants, there's shingles plants, there's asphalt plants, there's you name it, it's down there, right? And then it also has an impact on the canopy, and then the percent canopy. So for instance, District 6 and 7, their canopy is at 16%. 13 is around 45%. The average in Dallas is 30% and falling fast. Dallas is the second hottest urban heat island in the country next to Phoenix that is in a desert. And that's because of all of our concrete. and it cannot cool down at night. We're all aware of that. It heats up during the day. The problem is it can't cool down. So again, we are really hot. We know it. We've just come out of it. Dallas is 35+% concrete with no end in sight. There's nothing in code to prevent it. And again, this is an old city, old rules, old business, right? If you want to change things, you've got to know about it first. Unfortunately, you know, cutting down everything in sight, scraping it. So when you have fewer trees, you know, trees release moisture, water vapor, so fewer trees, less rain, more heat, more noise, less habitat, more air pollution, dirtier groundwater, less water in the aquifer, more flooding and erosion. Every single climate solution relies on mature trees. It's not going to solve it, but it would make it a lot better, not 2-inch replacement trees, which is what code requires, if they require anything at all. 70% of the canopy in Dallas, Texas is on private land. This is important. 70% is on private land, and if it's on less than 2 acres, you can mow everything down, you can scrape it, and you can put it on the curb. And it's happening all over. You see it every day, right? You drive through your neighborhoods, and you're like, oh my God, what happened here? It's a crime scene. Crime scene. The developers in my neighborhood know me. In my neighborhood, you know, you got those little builders, they have their signs out there, and I'm sympathetic. You know what? Builders have, they're just workers. They're working. They're trying to make a living, right? They know me, and it's amazing how many answer their phone. That number on the sign, if you call that, somebody answers. And they know it now. They're like, hi, Colleen. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm at a crime scene. I can't believe it. I can't even drive down this street anymore. I can't stand it. And a lot of them are sympathetic. Some of them are building because people want their house right there. And I'm like, couldn't you have built around that 70-year-old red oak? Yeah. Well, we could have, and I even brought it up, but they wanted their house right there. More crime scene photos. So let's say they do try to save it, and they put this orange fence around it, and then all the people pile on top of it with their trucks and all their crap. And then they decide they want a sprinkler system. So then they go and they trench right through the root system of the tree that's managed to survive. And I'm like, and I'm at the building site. I'm making a move, right? I'm like, get off the roots. And I'm trying to put the fence back up. And then I'm like, do you not have an air spade? Could you not have used an air spade to move that dirt, to run those lines? And they're like, what? And I'm not being mean, but I'm like dying on the inside. Literally. These are all in North Dallas. Look at this. We could have done better if we cared, right? Is it hot enough? So this is at Preston Forest, and on that surface this summer, it was 166 degrees. I have a little gun, I brought it, like a little, you know, from Amazon, and I've done the last 2 NOAA heat studies in Dallas. What is the hottest part of Dallas? It's the Southwest Medical District. It is on fire, folks. It is on fire. And we finished it, one half was done 2 years ago, and we finished it this summer. We finished the last part of the heat study. We can make things better if it's a priority, all right? What about a bioswale in the middle of that parking lot? The water actually goes into adapted ground and plants, and at least some of it doesn't run into the gutter. There was a cool pavement pilot in District 13 this past year, lowered the temperature of the pavement by 10 degrees. That's big. That's really big. And why was it in 13? Because they had the best roads, all right? District 13 is straight lane. It's west of the toll road at Royal Lane. And there is porous concrete. So instead of all the water running off, it could go through it. And that's actually being done in California and in Arizona. They're already there. And this is the part I really don't understand. I don't have children myself, but this is one of the unacceptable consequences of our urban heat island and our pollution. I'm a baby boomer. Nobody was on an inhaler when I was a kid. Well, now 10 to 18% of the children, depending on the district they live in, are on inhalers for asthma. Dallas has the highest rate of hospitalization of children for asthma in the country. It is the #1 reason they go into the ER. It's the #1 reason they miss school. Where is this street? Would you like to live on this street? This is North Haven. Used to look a little better before the tornado, but I guarantee you, when you go down that street, your heart rate goes down. You're not so mad about the way the person in front of you is driving because you're looking at those beautiful trees and you're thinking, well, it can't be that bad. But that has all kinds of health benefits for you. When you get under a canopy like that, you're thinking, who planned that? Oh my God, they must have done that as a neighborhood. It's beautiful. Where do you want to park? Again, I got my little heat gun out. This is at Cooper Fitness Center. Under that tree over there, it's 94 degrees. In the middle of that parking lot, it's 150 that day. We all try to get under those trees on purpose. Healthy environment, healthy body, mind. This is Valley House Gallery. Who would not want to live there? It's beautiful. It can be done if we care. So this is on my street, and I put this up here because the house on the left was finished about a year and a half ago. And when that old house was torn down, I almost had a heart attack because of all the trees. I was like, oh my God. So I called the builder, and he was young, and I said, look, I'm going to have to change the way I drive through my neighborhood. I said, I can't even go down my own street anymore. I said, because I just can't handle what's happening to the trees. He goes, well, I didn't cut them down. I said, no, but I said, they're being killed every day by your workers and the paint and the crap everywhere, and they're parking on them. And he goes, well, what do you want me to do? I said, I want you to fence them off. I said, I'll be the monitor. I said, I'm like the biggest thorn in people's sides. And he goes, I'll do it. The next day, he had them all fenced off. And these trees are alive. And that house sold for, I guarantee you, tens of thousands of dollars more. The folks on the right, they bought their lot because of the trees, and they did not cut them down. Their architect built around their trees, and they protected them during the build. Trees are the hardest working citizens of Dallas. They're reliable, they're dedicated, they never complain. They feed themselves, they don't have to be paid, they don't have to be trained, they're not rude. They work independently, they work in a team. They support thousands of other lives. They're beautiful. They've done more for this planet than any single human being who's ever walked it. It's past time to protect them. The simplest approach is to mitigating it is to stop cutting down our mature trees and plant for the future. And I'm not saying you've got to save every tree. I get it. I'm not crazy. But what we're seeing that's happening in Dallas right now is just crazy. It's just, why would you shoot yourself in the foot? That's what's happening, but people don't realize that's what they're doing. Plant the right tree in the right place at the right time. Dallas's canopy is 30% and falling. Our goal is to get it to 40%. The canopy could go to 55%. The difference between 30 and 40% is 10 degrees in the summertime. So what's the difference between 93 degrees and 103 degrees? Night and day. San Antonio sits at 38%, Austin at 36%, Houston at 16%. Atlanta has the highest canopy in the country at 45%. The East Coast is heavily forested compared to other places, and a lot of that has to do with what happened after the Great Depression when they put people to work planting, and they've protected a lot of what they have. For instance, Washington, D.C. has one of the best tree codes I've ever seen. If you cut the wrong tree down, you're going to jail. They're just not going to allow it. And, you know, if you go to Washington, D.C., there's certainly a lot of concrete, but think about those neighborhoods and how well, if you've been there, the number of trees, well, they are protected. If you want to build on that lot, you can build it, but if that tree is over a certain diameter, it is not coming down. You're just going to have to figure it out. And people are very smart. We can figure it out. I have no doubt. I put this in here because this is an example of one person making a difference. So about 20 years ago, Boeing was looking at Chicago or Dallas to move. Does everybody remember that? And it was this big contest, and Dallas was like, oh my God, we got this. They're coming here, they're coming here. And where did they go? They went to Chicago. And it was a huge blow. But one of the reasons that they said they didn't move here was because downtown was bleak. Concrete, dead, nothing going on. And they were moving from, I think, Seattle or Seattle area, and they were like, we can't do that to our employees. We just can't do it. So Robert Deckert with the Dallas Morning News was like, I'm going to change downtown Dallas. And in 20 years, he has done it. He has taken 23 acres of parking lot, and he's turned it into 23 acres of parks. And that's Harwood, Carpenter, West End, and Pacific. Clyde Warren was private. Civic and Main Street were there. The population has increased by 100%. The temperatures have gone down by 13 degrees. Hundreds of trees have been put in, grass, open spaces, permeable ground. They've even got a public school being built down there now. So think about that. One person. Now, he had a lot of help, and he's well known and well connected, friends with lots of money. But that's amazing that you could go into a built environment And you could do that in 20 years. And we probably, all of you have been down there to one of those parks. They are really nice. And downtown Dallas is alive. People, pets, children. Article 10 is our tree code. There was a lot of hard work done for this tree code. Does it save trees? No. What are the requirements? If the lot is over 7,500, well, let me just start off by saying this. I went to many builders and architects, and I asked them what they had to do if they took all the trees down on a lot when they took the house down, and none of them knew. I was like, oh my God. I was like, none of them knew. They were like, well, I don't know. I don't know. And I said, gosh, you know, how is that possible? Well, it took me a while, but I finally dug up the information. So if it's over 7,500 square feet, you have to plant 3 trees, and 2 inches is how big they need to be. If it's between 4,000 and 7,499, 2 trees, 2 inches. And if it's less than 4,000, it's 1 tree at 2 inches. And lot size, I don't know what the average lot size is in Dallas. That's actually a question that Phil is working on for me, but I'm going to guess it's around 7,000 square feet. And I looked at land use ordinances all over the country. There is a city in Connecticut that your lot size has to be 76,000 square feet. And the lowest is Houston at 1,400 square feet. Article 10 needs to change. Dallas is a city of big business. It's going to take a lot of work to get that to happen, a lot of education. I will tell you that in the years that I've been planting trees, I have seen a shift in what the builders are doing. They are starting to save trees. I see it happen in 13 and 11 more and more. So I just think a lot of it is about education. And I also think that individually we just need to make some really smart decisions about what we're doing with our trees and how important that tree is. Is it really your tree, or does it belong to the community or the neighborhood, right? Because they're providing huge services that a lot of people don't realize. The other thing I'd like to say too is, please hire an arborist when you deal with your trees. Do not go get some guy with a chainsaw, because that's what that is. He's got a chainsaw. He doesn't know what he's doing. I guarantee he's not cleaning it between the sick tree down the street and your tree. Trees have a lot of disease. It's even getting worse because trees are stressed now because of the weather and the pollution. And it's easy for a tree to die. We've all seen it. So please hire somebody who actually went to school and does CE. They were required to do continuing education on trees and tree care. I have a friend that works at Arbor Day, and I asked if we could use this, and he said yes.
A tree can be unifying, inviting diverse communities to gather over common roots. A tree can be innovative, effortlessly pulling carbon from the air. A tree can be noble, actively nurturing life in an uncertain world. Trees see our challenges as their checklists, whether it's vulnerable neighborhoods, delicate ecosystems, or global climate change. These problems demand we do better. A tree can be what we need. That's why now is the time for trees. Lots of trees. So grab the kids, neighbors, work-from-home warriors, and anyone else you meet along the way. Grab your sustainability officer, CEO, and CC everyone. Tell them everything a tree can be. The Arbor Day Foundation has been planting trees for 50 years, in every season and soil, in every climate and corner of the earth. We know a tree can be transformational, and we can turn local action into global impact. Let's face big challenges with greater courage, because a tree can be a solution. Let's put millions of solutions in the ground, each one breathing its benefits for decades. Each of us growing a better tomorrow.
Imagine coming home at the end of the day, and that's what you have left. All right? It's happening all over Dallas every day. I know a lot of people don't like squirrels. but I like them. So basically, that's it in a nutshell. That's talking, is a tree going to solve climate change? No, but it sure is an easy way to address it. And we have a pretty decent canopy in Dallas already if we would stop chopping it all down. So, yes, right. And I suggest, Dallas has a money problem. It's an old city, old infrastructure, old everything. I said, I could save you tons of money. I said, you want to cut that down? It's $50,000. I mean, why not, right? In other words, if you want to make it to where people care about it, you've got to monetize it. Yes.
100 square feet. You put a house on that. When you start adding that density, you're destroying our permeable area, you're destroying where we can plant trees. How do you equate that? I mean, do they work with you guys, the people who came up with Forward Dallas? I know it was city planners who drafted the thing, but that was my biggest concern. I thought that I was at City Hall every time it came up.
Right.
Because it upset me so much to think about you've got to clear cut some of our trees to deal with the density you're looking at, and then we're gonna cut down trees and put double houses on a single lot, or
Right.
standard lot, like we talk about. How do they deal with you guys and equate something?
Well, so what I would say is I support Forward Dallas because right now, Dallas is a city of old people and poor people, all right? Whether people want to recognize that or not. And where are all the people with kids going? Everywhere but Dallas. So if Dallas wants to survive as a city, you got to keep your young people, your young couples and their kids in the city. And it's not happening now because there's nowhere to live. They cannot afford to live in the city of Dallas. Dallas is out of money. So that was kind of why I was curious, what is the lot size? What is it? I don't know what it is. Now, Houston is 1,400 square feet, right? Lot sizes, it's very interesting. I don't know how much you want to know. So why does anybody have a lot size? Well, there's a lot of things that went into lot sizes. Who do you want in your neighborhood? Who do you not want in your neighborhood, right? More land, more expensive. People used to have septic systems. How much land does a septic system have to have in order for you to support the house? And then my generation, baby boomers, there were lots of kids, people moving into neighborhoods. Can the school district educate that family's children based on what they're going to pay for taxes? Okay, this is what people were thinking back in the 50s and the 60s when a lot of it was done. The cities were trying to survive and have money then. Well, things have changed, right? So I hear what you're saying, but the problem is we're cutting it all down anyway, right? So yes, a 1,400 square foot house on a 1,500 square foot lot, there's not going to be a whole lot of room. I think there are ways around it. I think that you could dictate it. I think you could have neighborhoods that were built. When people used to build neighborhoods, they used to have like a community park in the neighborhood. You remember that? And everybody went to the park. And everybody had a little yard, but it wasn't a massive yard. Now, people like us, we like to garden, we take care of things. Yards are more important, but think about the average person, like in my family. My sister, my brother, do they need a yard? No, they do not need a yard, right? I mean, they need something, but they don't need 16,000 square feet or whatever. In North Dallas, I'm going to guess yard sizes are upward of 16, 20, 25,000 square feet. When you start thinking about how big these yards are in District 11 and District 13, which is what I'm familiar with. So I hear what you're saying, but I believe, honestly, Dallas has got to do something to address the fact that its population, its replacement population is not here, okay? And they have to have a place to live. And at the same time, I think we could take care of the environment. I think we could do it in a way and design it in a way and hold people accountable that you would have probably comparable greening. But, it's complicated. I'm not, it's complicated. So, anyway. Any other questions? Yes. Well, they have replanted them because I was told they all came down because of the sidewalk or, anyway, there's a lot of like do it and then, ask for forgiveness that goes on, right? Well, there is no teeth in Dallas, Texas, okay? Now, that said, you have to sometimes pay in other words, if you're a commercial property and you're taking things down, they look at that in planning and they tell you what you're going to have to pay. Dallas has a reforestation fund. It has $6 million in it, and I think it should have $1 billion in it, right? So again, it's about, you know, the push and pull of development and the city and who wins. So we do not have to be permitted to cut anything down. Now, you might have a historic tree or a heritage tree, which Steve Hauser is very big on, but even that is a Herculean effort to get those trees through that process. So again, if it's on less than 2 acres and it's privately held in Dallas, nothing is protected. And again, 70% of the canopy is on less than 2 acres. It's not unsolvable. It is solvable in time with knowledge, yes. Who polices it? I mean, it's part of what happens in our building department. And I actually know the gentleman, and he works hard. He really does work hard to try to balance all the pressure that he has. Well, thank you all very much.
Well, I definitely learned a lot, and it was eye-opening. So thank you, Colleen. Next, we have the AgriLife Certificate of Appreciation. Neil Howard, can you come up to the front, please? Hi, Neil.
Hi. Surprise.
Surprise. So this is an award from Katerina, who obviously cannot be here today. And Crystal had planned on presenting it, but she was called away. So on behalf of Crystal and Katerina, I would like to recognize you on behalf of AgriLife as the awardee of the Certificate of Appreciation. So we'd like to begin by acknowledging that this recognition is long overdue. We apologize for the delay, but we are thrilled to ensure that Neil receives the recognition he deserves before the year comes to a close. We're so close. We just made it. Neil has been nothing short of instrumental in providing IT support for a variety of key DCMG events, whether it was supporting the Slow Gardening event last October, actually a year ago last October, assisting with the Japanese maple sales, managing the garden tour ticketing, providing PayPal payments for online dues payment, and many other tasks. Neil's contributions have been invaluable. So one of Neil's most significant contributions has been his work on improving the monthly volunteer reporting system. The current system, which is used by the garden leaders to report activities and educational outreach, has been complex and difficult to navigate. Recognizing this, Neil took the initiative to simplify the process by creating a jot form that guides users step by step through the data entry process with clear explanations for each field. Neil has made it easier for master gardeners to report accurate data. This enhancement will help ensure more reliable reporting and will allow us to collect vital data from volunteers across the board. This task has faced delays due to recent changes, but is still a work in progress that we hope to have implemented by early next year. Beyond the technical improvements, Neil's efforts have resulted in significant time and cost savings. In total, Neil has contributed over 380 hours of time, saving both the Extension Office and DCMGA over $12,000. Yeah. So much of what you do would have had to have been subcontracted out had you not graciously volunteered your time. So Neil, your dedication, hard work, and innovation have made a tremendous impact, and we are incredibly grateful for all you have done. It is with great pride that we recognize you as the outstanding AgriLife Extension volunteer. So thank you for your service, Neil. Thank you. Okay, next we have the President's Award. So in 2003, the President's Council on Service and Civic Participation founded the President's Volunteer Service Award to recognize the important role of volunteers in America's strength and national identity. This award honors individuals whose service positively impacts communities in every corner of the nation and inspires those around them to take action too. The President's Volunteer Service Award is an organization's opportunity to honor its most outstanding volunteers and recognize the impact they make. This program is led by AmeriCorps, serving as the federal agency for national service and volunteerism. It allows certifying organizations to recognize their most exceptional volunteers. Certifying organizations like the DCMGA are granted authority to award this special honor through a rigorous application and review process. The Lifetime Achievement Award recognizes an individual's contributions over the whole of a career as opposed to a single or annual contribution. There are currently 18 certified Master Gardeners who have received this award. Wrap your head around that one, 18. We are all humbled by these new recipients' commitments to excellence. So with each of these President's Awards, they receive a letter from the President, and it'll be signed by Joe Biden, and the letter will state, "The American story depends not only on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us. I congratulate you on taking it upon yourself to contribute to the public good, and I'm proud to present you with the President's Lifetime Achievement Award in recognition of your over 4,000 hours of service to this great nation. Throughout our country's history, the American story has been strengthened by those who combine an optimism about what can be with the resilience to turn that vision into reality. I know I'm not alone in recognizing that those who are willing to step up and volunteer in service of community and country are essential to the ongoing work of forming our most perfect union. By sharing your time and passion, you are helping discover and deliver solutions to the challenges we face, solutions that we need now more than ever. We are living in a moment that calls for hope and light and love. Hope for our futures, light to see our way forward, and love for one another. Through your service, you are providing all three. On behalf of the American people, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you for your volunteer leadership, and I encourage you to continue to answer the call to serve. The country is counting on you." And it's signed Joe Biden. To qualify for the President's Lifetime Service Award, a recipient must have logged 4,000 volunteer hours that have been verified by the certifying organization. At the time of application, these recipients had those 4,000 hours, but at the time of receiving this award, all have added hundreds of additional hours. To achieve the 4,000 volunteer hours means 2 years of full-time, 40 hours a week job. The President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipients this year are Mark Jones, Denise Stuber, and Sydney Wabner. So Mark is from the class of 2017. He is the Renaissance man, or perhaps the jack of all trades of Master Gardeners. He has over 1,400 unique entries in VMS. His primary areas of contribution have been to the school gardens at both Geneva Heights and Lakewood Elementary, the demonstration gardens at Raincatchers and the Texas Discovery Garden, and Mark is also a frequent volunteer at community and service gardens, such as Temple Emmanuel and the Salvation Army Garden. Mark has contributed to the Master Gardener School, the Garden Tour, the Help Desk, the Garden Consultation Team, and additionally, Mark has served on the board of the DCMGA and has participated in innumerable other administration areas. Every aspect of this organization has benefited from Mark Jones. And I also want to comment, Mark is the brain tank behind the procurement policy that we have. So that has been hugely beneficial to the projects as well. So congratulations, Mark. So Cindy is from the class of 2003. Cindy has demonstrated her leadership from the very beginning of her Master Gardener career, serving as her class captain. In addition to serving hundreds of hours in the community and demonstration gardens, Cindy has been the devoted champion of the garden project at the Juliet Fowler Communities. Serving as the project director, she has contributed over 3,000 hours to Juliet Fowler, working and training volunteers, both experienced and total novices, from enriching the lives of the Juliet Fowler community residents. Congratulations, Cindy. Okay, being my last monthly meeting, I would like to thank all of those folks that I have had the distinct honor and privilege to serve on the board with. So if you have been on the board the past 2 years, please stand so you can be recognized. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all have been wonderful.
Hello everyone, I'm here to talk to you about an easy and fun way to get volunteer hours. Who's all up for that? Who loves to talk about being a Master Gardener? Who loves talking about their favorite garden? Yep. You are qualified to be a Master Gardener mentor for the school committee. Quick question? Or no, you're volunteering? Awesome, I'm gonna sign you up. So first off, I want to tell you about what it is and what it isn't. So what you have to do and what you don't have to do. You do not have to attend all the classes. You do not have to attend the committee meetings. What you do have to do is talk about how awesome it is to be a Master Gardener and about all the projects that we have out there for our 2025 trainees to participate in. We're going to have a 1-hour online training. You're going to get CE credit for that, thanks to Katarina. I want you to welcome our mentees in the class of 2025 to being a Dallas County Master Gardener. Check in with the mentees throughout the spring semester. This could be taking them out to coffee and asking questions about how they're doing. This could be a quick text message. How'd you do on that last homework? Or how'd you do on your presentation last week? Okay, just checking in with them and help them find volunteer opportunities. In March, we're going to have Project Spotlight Day again, and after that, they're going to be released to do their volunteer hours. And I want to make sure that every mentor is helping them find some place to call home.
I do have a question.
Yep.
If you are a mentor, how many mentees do you get?
That's an awesome question. So right now, we have enough mentors to cover 3 to 1. My goal is 2 to 1. And if we get a little bit more than that, maybe 1 to 2 to 1. So some people take 1, some people take 2. So that's an awesome question, thank you. Okay, benefits, CE hour for that mentor training, volunteer hours. So if you take them out to coffee, you ask them questions about how they're doing in class, you answer their questions about being a Master Gardener, you get volunteer time for that. Yay. Awesome. You get to foster a relationship with a class member of 2025. Opportunity to promote your favorite garden project and invite them out to volunteer with you. And also, you get my eternal gratitude. Very important. All right. I'll be around after the meeting. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
And something I failed to mention when I was doing the President's Award, Denise Struber could not make it to today's meeting, so her award will be presented at the earliest time that we can coordinate her time in Dallas. The final plant raffle. And that concludes today's meeting. Thank you all for coming, and grab some cookies on your way out.